This slide is just to demonstrate the dangers of dieting. That these most popular diets where people yo-yo their weight, they lose weight, unsustained because they didn't flood the body with nutrients. They didn't focus on nutritional quality. They focused on some scheme to make them eat less calories, which couldn't be maintained. It's like telling you to breathe less air unless you, on a regular basis, keep the body well nourished. You're not going to maintain that. Then you lost weight, but you gained it back again. And every time you regained weight, you shifted fat from subcutaneous stores to visceral fat. And as you did so, you increased the saturation of that stored fat, which increased the cancer-promoting potential of that fat. You increased the risk of cancer. You increased the risk of having a heart attack. You increased the risk of having a stroke. Because you gained and lost weight. You don't want to diet to lose weight and go on one of these crazy fad diets. You want to improve your diet to lose weight. The word diet has different meanings. One meaning means like a healthy diet. Just means describes the way you eat. And the other meaning of diet means you went on something particularly just to lose weight. You can't, so I'm against that type of diet. Not I'm going against a healthy diet or a nutritarian diet. It's dieting I'm against. I want you to eat the same diet. If you're overweight, I want you to eat the same diet I'm eating. I'm not doing it to lose weight. I'm doing it for my health. But you should be doing it for your health too, whether you're overweight or underweight. Whatever your weight is, you should be wanting to eat right for your long-term health and protect your future. And then if you're underweight, it'll help you gain weight. And if you're overweight, it'll help you lose weight. It'll make you gravitate towards the healthiest weight. Do you understand what I'm saying? So diets don't work. You have to seek volume and nutrients. You want to get rid of toxic hunger. Animal protein, sugar, and caffeine feed toxic hunger. And here's a study on about 760 people where we followed them for months and months and months, and we followed that 90% of those who followed a nutritarian diet, 90% or greater, had a changed perception of hunger. They didn't feel hunger was that intense. They didn't have to go eat. They lost their drive to want to overeat. They lost their cravings, and 90% of them, after about 6 months of eating healthy and getting the nutrient stores in the body high, developed the ability to be back in touch with true instinctual hunger, which is felt in the mouth and throat. So 5,500 out of the 700 lost their drive to overeat, and over 90% had a changed perception of hunger on this study of 700 people. Now the reason all of them didn't get better, obviously, is because not all of them were following the diet all the way or long enough. But so my basic Nutritarian prescription, which means that I want you to do some basic things at a minimum. This is not what I want you to eat. This is the minimum what I want society to do. Number one, I want you to eat a big salad every day. Every day. How many of you eat at least one? I want you to put on the big sign in your refrigerator, take out your magic markers, make a big card as soon as you get home, and write on the card in your refrigerator that says the salad is the main dish. And at least once a day, have a giant salad as a main dish. How many of you would at least eat a big salad at least once a day? Oh, wow, most of you do. That's great. And you put on that salad. So I make it a point, I'm always in the back of my mind, did I have my salad today? Yet. And if I didn't, I have to have it, And you put on it things that have particular powerful anti-cancer effects, like a little cruciferous vegetables, like arugula or watercress or red cabbage or Chinese cabbage or bok choy or kale, a little bit raw cruciferous on that salad, maybe some tomatoes and a delicious healthy dressing, maybe with nuts and seeds instead of oil as the fat component. Maybe a little raw onion on your salad. We'll talk about that healthy dressing thing in a minute, because it's important to have at least 1 ounce of nuts and seeds a day, particularly those nuts and seeds that are high in those lignans and those omega-3s, like sesame seeds, hemp seeds, flax seeds, chia seeds, and walnuts. How many of you have either flax seeds, chia seeds, walnuts, or sesame seeds almost every day? One of those things almost every day. Wow, you guys are very educated. And at least a half a cup of beans a day. Could be sprouted beans and lentils on your salad. It could be cooked beans into a soup. It could be a bean burger or a mushroom bean and walnut burger. It could be a stew, a chili, right? Beans are very powerful anti-cancer effects. In other words, that compound, IP5, inositol pentakisphosphate in beans, doesn't allow tumors to grow. A study showed that men who ate beans just twice a week, had a 50% low risk of colon cancer. Imagine if they had beans every day. They'd have no more friends left. But no cancer. I didn't have to raise my hand on that one. That was good.
But you get used to it.
All right. That's right. You get used to it. And a large serving of greens every day, like broccoli or asparagus or artichokes. Mushrooms or onions, very powerful anti-cancer effects. And the mushrooms should be predominantly cooked, not raw, because mushrooms have a mild carcinogen called agaritine that is blown off with a minute to 2 minutes of cooking. I always keep some cooked mushrooms in my refrigerator so I can put them while they're cold, but they've been cooked already, on top of my salad or put them in a dish or something. And some fresh fruits, particularly berries of pomegranate that are so rich in those polyphenols that actually have anti-diabetic effects, even though they're sweet. And did you know that berries like blueberries and strawberries actually can lower the glucose absorption from other foods? In the same meal, not like beans in the second meal, but they still have lower the glucose absorption and have anti-diabetic effects. They're sweet, but they have anti-diabetic effects when you eat berries. So minimally, can you imagine where our society would be if everybody in America followed this Nutritarian prescription? What if all of America did this? What would that effect have on our healthcare system and our healthcare crisis and our economic crisis, which who can afford to pay for all these sick people? Not going to solve this problem in Washington. Not going to solve it by legislating who pays for healthcare. What we have to have is healthier populations. It doesn't require so much healthcare. It's the only way we're going to solve it. Get healthier people. So if I want to make a pyramid, and if the government was going to make a pyramid, I'd recommend they make a pyramid that puts vegetables at the bottom of their pyramid. Not they put bread and pasta at the bottom of their pyramid. Right? And I would put that at the bottom. Put the foods you want people to eat at the bottom of the pyramid. What do you want people to eat? More vegetables, right, of different colors and shapes and sizes, and beans and fruits and seeds and nuts and whole grains, and then you put the things you want them to eat less of at the top. You don't put the things you want them to eat less of at the bottom, you put the things you want them to eat less of at the top. Now, I didn't have to make it into a pyramid, I could have made it into a pie, because the government changed to a pie and a plate, and I changed to a plate. If they change to a plate, I'm going to change to a plate. So I'm going to make vegetables the major portion, the largest portion of the plate. And then split the rest of the portion with beans and fruits and seeds and whole grains. And if people want to use animal products in their diet, they have to use the non-commercial animal products, the wild stuff that's not as toxic. But that should be held to a much smaller percent of calories. Like under 10%, preferably, like that study I told you earlier, under 7.5%. There should be a very low level of animal products using as a flavoring for the food, not the big portion on the plate, and avoiding things that are particularly toxic, because the third principle of a nutritarian diet is avoiding things that are carcinogenic or toxic, right? So a nutritarian diet, which we're talking about in this presentation, is vegetable-based. The standard diet is grain-based. A nutritarian diet is lots of produce, different types, right? Beans and nuts and seeds and berries and onions and mushrooms and eggplant, and tomatoes, and the American standard diet is lots of dairy and meat at every meal. You give people a meal. I was lecturing to the hospital last week, and the hospital and all the doctors and all their people who donate to the hospital within this auditorium, they made them a nutritarian buffet with my recipes. And they really liked the presentation, but it was amazing how unusual it was for them to eat even one meal, just one meal of the whole week that healthy. Just one meal without animal products, without oil and without sugar, without dessert. They had a nice healthy dessert, fruit dessert, but the point is, just to eat one meal was such a shock to them. They couldn't get over it. Because Americans eat this stuff at every single meal, right? They eat dairy and meat at every single meal, and they eat oil at every meal practically. Most Americans consume more than 400 calories of oil a day. Where are those calories going to go? On your body. How can you burn it off unless you're a physical laborer or a professional athlete? Unless you're a guy, walking behind an ox and a heavy plow 8 hours a day in your field, like you did years ago, digging all day long or chopping all day long. You're not going to burn those calories off working on a computer. It's stored as fat too rapidly. And the average American consumes animal products 2 to 4 times a day. The average American consumes over 70 to 100 ounces of animal product a week. And I'm saying you should be 7 and 10 ounces, the whole week should be 1/10 that. You should eat probably more than 10 ounces a week, and they're eating more than that per day. You follow that? So, of course, a nutritarian diet, it's called nutritarian because it's focused on, why is it called nutritarian? Because the focus is on foods that are high in nutrients, that are nutrient rich, that are comprehensively give all the nutrients humans need. So to review what I'm saying here is that when you're a white belt, you start out eating this way, you don't feel better, you feel worse. It's important to know you're going to feel worse. You're not going to do it. If you're thinking, well, I might as well go back to my old diet. I felt better eating that. You got to know you're going to feel worse in the first couple of days. And if you're doing it a few months, you're a yellow belt. You move up a little bit. You enjoy healthy eating. You're not going to feeling bad anymore. But you didn't lose your emotional attachment to those foods. The foods are too addicting. You're still missing those foods. And your taste buds haven't changed yet in the first few months. It takes about 6 months for your taste to change. And you're a brown belt. Now you're 6 months or more. You're feeling true hunger in your mouth and throat. You still enjoy. You're still no longer you're not necessarily enjoying your healthier treats and desserts better than the old ones. That takes a little more time. But you're a black belt. Now you're eating mostly when you're hungry. You're fully in line. So a year went by. You're a black belt. You lost your emotional attachment to the unhealthy food. You enjoy your delicious dessert. Maybe you went to a party, you had a birthday party, and you chose to eat your desserts that you liked, that are healthy for you. Like maybe it was a raw carrot beet made with with apples and beets and carrots and a raw carrot pie. Maybe it was a vanilla ice cream made with vanilla bean and some frozen banana whipped with a little fresh coconut or walnut put into a delicious banana ice cream. Maybe you enjoyed that But in other words, you enjoyed the healthy version more than the unhealthy version. So you figure, I've lost the excess weight. I'm in great health now. I feel good. I'm off of medications. It's my birthday. Might as well just go out and have what I feel like having, and just as a treat. It's not going to kill me one meal. And you go out and you have some barbecued ribs. And maybe cheesecake a la mode, right? And you're having this feel, and you realize, I thought I would like this because I used to love it, but now my taste has gotten so sensitive, and my taste for sugar and spice, it's like disgusting now. You realize that you thought you might have liked it, but you don't like it anymore. It's too overly flavored and your taste buds have gotten too strong. And you can actually taste the chemical, the bleach in the ice cream, and the chemicals in the ice cream, and it's too sweet for you. You say, I'd rather go home and eat my ice cream at home, one that I made myself out of the frozen banana. It's too in other words, you don't realize it, that taste is learned and can be trained, and eating a nutritarian diet to protect your health doesn't mean you're giving up pleasure in life. You're enhancing pleasure. Because I know what people are thinking. I don't know this audience particularly. This seems like a highly educated audience, but I think for most people listening to me speak, what they're thinking in their mind hearing me speaking, they're saying to themselves, I know this sounds good, logical, and scientific and everything, but I'd rather die younger and get more pleasure out of eating. And so what? I'll lose 10 years, 20 years of life. Who cares? At least I'll enjoy my life more eating what I feel like eating. Is that what people are thinking? Right. Not you guys. Okay.
All our friends.
It's a myth. You don't get more pleasure out of life from eating unhealthily. It makes your life not just traumatic, but it puts you under chronic stress. It ruins your marriage. It ruins your relationship. It ruins your ability to perform at work. It ruins your intellect as you age. It ruins your enjoyment of life. And the pleasure from eating is enhanced on a healthy diet because your taste is enhanced. And I tested this out on those 750 people. We tested them. And over time, not at the beginning, but over time, they reported they liked a nutritarian diet, the taste and pleasure, as much or better than their old diet. You don't lose pleasure in life. It's everything to gain. Part of the nature of addiction is that it takes over part of the primitive brain that creates anxiety to change, and it comes up with delusional ideas and rationalizations why you can't change. Part of the brain's thinking, it's too hard for me, I have too much work, I travel with people, my friends won't let me do this way, my family's going to object, I can't handle eating vegetables, I'm not that strong of a person, I don't have enough willpower, I've had too much stress in my life, I was abused by my mother when I was 6 years old. You have all these reasons why you can't do this delusional self-talk, why you can't eat healthy. Why it's for somebody else, not for you. Never the right time to quit smoking. It's never the right time to quit because I'm too much stress right now. My son flunked his exam. My husband loses his job. I'm not pregnant yet. There's always some reason why you can't quit. But you know what? It's not the time. That smoking is causing these stresses and your inability to cope with all the stresses in your life. I know that addiction with food is destroying your life little by little.